Rick from Milwaukee is looking to move to Boca and wants to get a policy on his home. He wants to know what steps to take.
So I have some commentary on this because I go through this a lot.
Yeah.
At least I'm usually the first or the first point of contact when it comes to
realtor's always the first point of contact.
Yeah, so usually I get the question of like, hey, I want to get an insurance quote on my home,
Right.
or I want to get an insurance quote on these homes that I'm thinking about buying, and I usually communicate to people it's different from buying in other parts of the country. Example is, it's not that simple to get an insurance quote on a 1970 construction home before you go through inspection. So
age plays a big role in it.
Yeah.
The age of the property.
Yeah. So why don't you share a little bit about like what that process kind of looks like?
So I mean the differentiator is 20 years. Once the house is more than 20 years old, you need a 4-point, you need a wind-mit in order to get a quote. If it's newer than 20 years, I can essentially do the quote with just the address. The wind mitigation does help because certain carriers will want to see that in order to give you, opening protection, things along those lines. But, that's it. Once you hit the 20-year mark, so right now, 2006, anything older than 2006, we're going to need a wind mit and a 4.4. Anything newer than 2006, just call me with the address and, I'll pop out a quote to you. Take me, maybe an hour at the most, just because there's a lot of carriers that will write a newer structure versus an older structure. We might have 6, a newer structure we will have 20. So,
Yeah, so that's a big factor. So
Absolutely.
First and foremost, like it's not that easy to just go get a random quote and understand what your insurance costs are going to be because there's many factors. And you mentioned 4-point wind mit. So for anybody who doesn't know a lot about insurance in South Florida, the inspector usually comes to the home and they do 2 insurance documents.
Right.
One's a 4-point, one's a wind mit,
Right.
or wind mitigation report.
Right.
These documents are then provided to Mike, and then Mike goes ahead and runs the quotes through multiple carriers. The other thing I think that is important to know, and is a point of confusion a lot, is, hey, hey, Larry, I got a State Farm agent or I get State Farm insurance up in my home in New Jersey or wherever. I'm just going to bundle all this together,
Right.
and I'm just going to use those guys. It's like, hey, that's not really how it works.
No.
Maybe elaborate on that for a second.
So, I mean, there's certain properties that State Farm will quote here, but majority of the time they're not an option. Same with Allstate. And then if you have an agent in New York, they don't have access to all the carriers. Even if they're licensed in Florida, they're not going to have access to all the carriers in Florida. You really, really need to use a Florida agent to write in Florida because the market is just so complex. It's so much different in New York. It's so much different in California. So much different in any other state that you really need someone that's on the ground here and, in order to get an accurate quote, a good quote. Because I can't tell you how many people I run into, they're paying triple, quadruple what I'm charging, and they have less coverage at the end of the day and a higher deductible, and it's not an admitted carrier. It's just it's sad to see, and but their other agent just doesn't have any other option, so they provide that option. They take it, and they don't realize that they're getting ripped off. So
I think there's 2 terms that people should know when they're thinking about insurance in Florida. It's insurance agent and then carriers.
Right.
And so you want to select an agent that sells for all the carriers in theory,
exactly
right? That
as
has
many carriers as possible.
Yeah, it has access to the majority of carriers.
Right.
And when you are using an agent outside the state of Florida, or considering that, or
Right.
you want to go straight to Geico, State Farm, or some of these well-known names, you immediately pigeonhole yourself.
Absolutely.
So in Florida, you want to meet an agent such as Mike, that has access, and this is all he does. And so this is where he spends his time. He makes sure he's connected with the carriers that are in the market. These carriers in Florida, as you mentioned, because of the complexity of risk and everything else, they come in and out of the market.
Yeah, I'll add, not the best job, but I'm stuck doing it. I'm stuck here.
So they come in and out of the market. They change how they what they're writing on, right? They change their qualification standards. So you really need to get with an agent that is selling for these carriers and can help you navigate this.
Right.
And a lot of times, unfortunately, people are buying homes that are older than 20 years. And so we need to get that 4-point wind mit in order for Mike to even write the policy.
Right. I mean, we
get
eyeball a quote, but I'm going to give you a range price, and it's going to be plus or minus 20%. So if you really want an accurate price, I need both of those inspections. For the pricing, it's more the mitigation report. The 4-point's not going to really determine the price, but the 4-point determines which carriers I can use. So if I give you a quote just using the wind-mit, and then I get the 4-point, and now all of a sudden that carrier won't write it because your roof's too old or your water heater's too old or whatever, and then I have to switch to another carrier, and then price changes, and you're going to be upset. So ideally, both inspections to get an accurate price. Yeah.
So I think to recap, the answer to your question is the steps look like this. Typically, if the home's older than 20 years, we can get a ballpark. A lot of times, what I'm telling people is 1% of the purchase price is a way to think about this. Now, it could be more, it could be less.
Depends on the age of the structure.
It's really hard. It's
like
really
new
hard.
construction is so
Totally
cheap.
different.
Yeah, like
Totally
new,
different.
or even like just newer than 2006. I mean, sometimes I'm getting pricing that's like, half a percent on the sales price.
Yep.
Maybe even less. But on an older structure, sometimes it gets worse, especially if you got an older roof, you don't have hurricane windows, you have a flat roof on the house. It's not, like a reinforced concrete roof deck. It's just like, one of those asphalt roofs. So there's a lot of things that contribute to the price.
It's so complicated.
Ideally, if you're looking at a house and you want an insurance price, you give us a call. We'll give you like the high and the low. And we'll say, okay, you're going to be in between here. Okay. And if you see that house has hurricane windows, you see it's got a new roof, then you can estimate on the lower side. If you see that it doesn't, estimate on the higher side. And we work with a lot of mortgage brokers, and they'll actually, every deal that they get in, because they need to estimate for insurance, they'll send it to us, and we'll send them like a high-end ballpark. So we'll send it like on the more expensive side so they can qualify you. And then once we get the inspections, it comes back cheaper, and it helps you out. So that's usually the way we handle it.
Insurance is a big piece of the deal qualification process here in Florida. It's
yearly cost.
Different. Yeah. It's different. It's from a how much does it cost? And do I qualify for the loan now because of how much insurance costs?
Yeah.
Or just can I get insurance? Thus, can I get financing on this property? Period. Do I need to replace a roof 30 days after closing, or
Right.
can I wing it for another year? How can we wiggle through? This is a very complicated process here in South Florida specifically. And so it's important to get with a good real estate agent that really understands this and works through it,
Right.
and a good agent that can represent you on the insurance side. I think we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, the realtor's got to be an insurance agent, attorney,
Right? Totally.
everything.
Totally. And this is what I say to people. Like, I have a
Designer.
really good hand. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a really good handle on the insurance stuff. We do a lot of stuff. I own
Yeah.
a lot of product. We do, I don't know, 300 transactions. I'm talking to you almost every other day.
Oh, yeah.
And so like, I have a good handle on this, but I'm not going to speak out of turn. I'm always calling you guys. Even if I think I already know the answer, I'm calling you with the client on the line and just saying, hey, what do we got going on? Let's talk through this real quick. It's usually a 2, 3, 4, 5 minute call, and we know the answer, because things change.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to like give bad or incorrect consult to my buyer or seller because I didn't like take the time to like just double check that fact that I knew from a month ago is still valid today.
Yeah, and to all you other realtors out there, you need an agent that answers the phone. That's the most important part.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.